Well, a firm of attorneys has penned a letter to the Deputy Speaker of Parliament calling for tomorrow's planned election of the new Speaker to be halted. They say they represent the New Nation Movement, NPC, and others. And they claim the decision to nominate Newzroom Afrika for the position was imposed on members of the ANC caucus. We're joined now by attorney Eric Mabuza. Mr. Mabuza, good evening to you, and thanks for your time on The Pulse. Firstly, set out the grounds on which you are opposing the election of the Speaker tomorrow for us, please.
Good evening, Kathy, and thank you for inviting me to your show. Kathy, in a nutshell, the opposition against Madam Afrika is that, given the known facts, i.e. the fact that she was recently relieved of a cabinet position by President Ramaphosa, as well as previous allegations of misuse of public funds, my clients are of the firm view or belief that Madam Afrika is not fit to occupy such an important position within our sphere of democracy. We've then sent a letter to the acting speaker so that the acting speaker could distribute to the political parties and all the parliamentarians the concerns that are raised by our clients, so that they could reflect and pause on this very important issue, given the current trajectory where the country is going, where there is accountability and transparency. We should all be pleased that now we see private citizens taking an initiative. This has absolutely nothing to do with political parties or factions within political parties, but this is a private citizens' initiative to ensure that our parliamentarians are accountable to us. I mean, for a long time, we've been complaining about the conduct of parliamentarians or what is going wrong within our democracy without us as private citizens taking initiative. So we must all celebrate this courageous step by my clients to hold Parliament to account, so that whenever they vote on this important issue, they exercise their own conscience. Remember, our courts have already told us that parliamentarians, when they get to Parliament, they have an obligation to exercise their vote in terms of their own conscience, not the dictates of their political parties. So the whole idea of this letter is to appeal to parliamentarians so that they reflect on this important issue and pause and come to a correct decision. So
this letter, when one looks at the letter that was penned by the ANC caucus upon the nomination of Ms. Newzroom Afrika, they said she had a great track record, not just in government, but also within Parliament, you know, when she was there over a decade ago. It could be something that very much becomes subjective. So you and your clients can say, well, she's actually bad at her job, and the ANC caucus says she's good at her job. So what then happens next after this letter, if the response is simply that we actually have confidence in her?
And remember, our first point of call is not to go to court to fight them. Our first point of call is to engage with the parties in Parliament to try and understand why they are putting her forward for election. Given the known facts, one of the known facts is that the President recently relieved her from her cabinet position. Another known fact is that the Joint Standing Committee on Defense in Parliament is currently or intends to institute an inquiry against her. Given all those facts, the question which we have to ask ourselves is she the best candidate for that job? Interestingly, Kathy, the way things, if the matter goes the way as you suggest, we may have to find out from the President why he relieved her of the duties as the former cabinet minister of defense. you'll also remember that our democracy is not a numbers game. Our democracy is based on justification for every decision that is taken by public officials, including the president. So it's not won't be good enough for the ANC to say that she's the best candidate. They must justify that based on the facts that are known, given the allegations against her of misuse of public funds. You remember that the president also warned her previously about the misuse of private funds, as well as the fact, a known fact, that the president relieved her of the duties as the former Minister of Defense.
So, Mr. Mabuza, on the issue of the misuse of funds, and that was that trip to Zimbabwe where she took other ministers along with her, you perhaps have more of a case in terms of her track record, because the president publicly, called her to order for it and even docked her salary. On the issue of why she was actually reshuffled out of cabinet, we simply don't know those reasons. And the fact that the president already in that statement said that she should not worry, she will be redeployed elsewhere, of course further suggests that there were perhaps never any true intentions for her to be completely out of any kind of position in government.
On that fact alone, that the president warned her previously about misuse of state funds, that disqualifies her from occupying such a senior and important position within our democracy. I mean, this is where the executive has to account. She is an embodiment of parliament. She's an embodiment of accountability. She's an embodiment of transparency within our constitutional democracy. So given that, the question that you have to ask yourself rhetorically is, can you entrust such a position to someone with those known facts?
Are we likely to see this matter end up in court if she is elected as the Speaker of Parliament tomorrow?
I'm very optimistic, and I believe that I trust our parliamentarians to pause about this and reflect about their responsibilities, not only to their political parties, but to the entire country, whether, given this challenge or threat of challenge, should they still go ahead and put someone like her to fill that important position within our democracy. And I still believe that sanity will prevail. The parliamentarians will discuss with each other to come to a common ground to elect someone with less blemish than Madam Mapisa Ngakula. And I'm saying that with respect, because it's a known fact that the president warned her for abuse of state resources.
Attorney Eric Mabuza, on behalf of the New Nation Movement NPC, let me thank you for your time tonight.